The illusion of perfection is holding you back from building wealth with Bitcoin. And in this video, I want to go into this in depth. Let's get started. I want to start with what exactly perfection is. So, perfection is the conditioned state or quality of being free or as free as possible from all flaws or defects. So, let me give you an example for this. Let's say you start a fitness plan, you have to eat a certain meal, or you have to go to the gym a certain number of times every single month or every single week. Let's say 1 week you don't go to the gym enough times and you just give up. How are you ever going to achieve your dream body or your dream level of fitness if you just stop? You can't. Let's say you want to lose some weight and your doctor tells you or your trainer tells you that you shouldn't eat sugar, and one day you go out with friends and you have some sugar, you have a cake or something. And after you have that cake, you think, I'm not going to be able to do this anymore. I can't follow my fitness goals anymore. So I'm just going to give up. That's the illusion of perfection. The illusion of perfection is thinking that what you do will be free of flaws or defects. So you're always going to follow the exact plan that you made in the past, and you're never going to go off course. Another example of this would be, let's say you're going somewhere and you want to get there by a certain time and you hit traffic and you just turn back home. You end up just not going. That would end up giving you a much worse result than just going through the traffic, dealing with the fact that there could be flaws in your plan, there could be defects in your plan. And this is what holds a lot of people back from ever doing anything meaningful. So, for example, if somebody wants to build wealth with Bitcoin, they may think, I'm not going to buy Bitcoin at all unless I can get to 1 or 10 or 100. And an example of this would be, I actually met David Bailey's bodyguard at Vegas. And I asked him, do you own any Bitcoin? He told me no. And he said that because he can't get to 100, what's even the point? What's even the point of accumulating a little bit? And this is, again, what holds a lot of people back from reaching whatever destination they want to reach, because it's impossible to perfectly do everything that you want to do. I think the key here is consistency. If you want to build your dream body, you have to be consistent at the gym. Here and there, you're going to make mistakes. You're not going to do everything that you promised yourself, and that's perfectly fine. Here and there, you're going to do things that go against the rules. And as a human, you have flaws, you have defects. You have to accept that. In my early 20s, I would tell myself that I want to pay off all my debt and I want to become financially free and I want to start a business. And the way that I thought back then wasn't based on consistency, it was based on streaks, or it was based on me just doing something over and over again and pushing myself and having the willpower to do the right things. And if I ever fell off, let's say I had a certain amount of money that I wanted to spend on entertainment or takeout, if I ever went off that target, if I went above that target, I would give up on my financial goals and I'd lose all the progress that I made in the past because I was pursuing perfection. If I didn't have perfection, I would give up and I wouldn't do what was right for my future. For example, I know people who start budgeting, and then if they're ever off on their budget and they spend too much on, let's say, their wants, or their needs get too expensive, they just give up. They spiral out of control. They do the wrong things and they end up with no progress at all. And I was like this before. So what I would do is, let's say, for example, if I wanted to pay off a credit card, I would do whatever I could to pay it off ASAP, and I would sacrifice my wants and I would sacrifice my entertainment and I'd sacrifice my day-to-day life in order to put more money towards that credit card to pay it off. But you have to understand that life requires consistency. It requires a balance. It requires that you make the right decisions over and over again until you get to the result that you want. And I think that the 50-30-20 budget is perfect for this. While you're paying for your needs and you're saving, you're also buying the things that you want. You're not sacrificing your current life for the future because you don't know when you're going to pass away. You don't know how much time you have on earth. One thing that a lot of people do when it comes to Bitcoin is, if they can't buy, let's say, $10,000 worth of Bitcoin every single month, and most people can't. If they can't buy a significant amount of Bitcoin every single month, they're just not going to buy at all. And the reason why this leads to a lot of issues is because they give up in the present moment and they spend their money on all these random things that they don't even need, and they don't put anything into Bitcoin. And then in the future, they look back and they think, why didn't I just buy what I could? This applies to the stock market as well. A lot of people will not dollar cost average into the S&P 500 because they think that it's not worth it. What's $1, $5, $10 a month going to do? So they just spend their money on useless stuff that they don't really need. And this is why I say that no matter what happens, you should accumulate as much Bitcoin as you can, even if it's $1, $2, $5 a month. Some people will say that, oh, I can't buy $500 every single month, so I'm not going to do it. But you can buy $1, you can buy $5. People will say that they're too poor to buy Bitcoin, but they're really not. You can buy any amount that you want. And that's the beauty of Bitcoin. You can buy as much as you want to. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to say that, oh, if I'm going to buy Bitcoin, I need to buy $1,000 every week. And if I can't buy $1,000 every week, then it's not worth it. The point here is to stay consistent, make small moves over time, take it piece by piece, lay your foundation brick by brick so that at some point you can rely on that foundation to pay for your expenses whenever you need to. If you accumulate even a small amount of Bitcoin every single month, you're going to see that in a few years, that amount will add up, even if your plan to accumulate Bitcoin wasn't perfect. A lot of people won't buy Bitcoin because they don't know what the perfect day to buy Bitcoin is, and they want to buy at the cheapest price no matter what. And they just give up. They get stuck in analysis paralysis. And because of this analysis paralysis, because they're just analyzing the numbers and they're looking at what the best day should be, or they want to buy during the bear market, they're just not going to buy any at all. The way that I see it, even if you buy on the worst days, even if you buy the tops, even if you just consistently buy small amounts over time, that Bitcoin that you buy will add up and it'll be worth a lot more than whatever it's worth today because that's just how Bitcoin works. Once you understand the fundamentals, none of that analysis paralysis, none of that trying to time the market really makes any sense because whatever the price is today will eventually be a rounding error. Eventually, you're going to feel like you should have bought more at today's price because you didn't buy enough. People will do whatever they can to avoid the tops, to avoid volatility, to avoid having to go through the pain of Bitcoin's price going down. And the best solution for this is just to not buy at all because they don't want to deal with the volatility. They don't want to say that they bought the top and then they had to deal with Bitcoin dropping 50, 60, 70%. So they just won't buy anything at all. For example, if you buy $0 worth of Bitcoin every single week, you can wait as long as you want to. Let's say you wait 50 years, you'll still have $0 worth of Bitcoin. Your portfolio will be worth zero. But let's say you bump that up to $5 a month, which isn't that much, but over time it will add up. In 50 years, $5 per month will give you 202,000 Satoshis worth $760 million if Bitcoin's price rises at 35% per year. So that $5 per month may not seem like much today, but in 50 years, that's a significant amount of wealth. I think that the illusion of perfection is an excuse. It's a way for people to not make decisions that are hard today because they know that they can't be perfect. It's impossible to be perfect as a human. You're always going to make mistakes. You're always going to look back and cringe at the decisions that you made. I do that all the time. I think back on how when I was in my mid 20s, I would be eating takeout all the time. I'd be making all these terrible decisions. I would skip the gym here and there, but none of that really matters. All that matters is that I did go to the gym, let's say even twice, three times, four times a week in my early 20s, that I put in any time that I had to study for, let's say, the CFA instead of just sitting back and relaxing all the time because I couldn't dedicate all of my time to studying for the CFA. All of the time that I did put in added up and it allowed me to complete the CFA designation. And now I'm a CFA charter holder. Too many people have this belief that you have to go big or go home. And I don't think that's the right way of living because it ends up with you being disappointed in every single aspect of your life. And this is why I say that every single Satoshi that you stack counts. Today, it may not seem like you're making that much of a difference if you add 10, 20, 100 Satoshis to your stack here and there. But in the future, you're going to see that it does make a difference. And accumulating any Bitcoin today will end up with you being significantly wealthier in the future. Every single decision that you make today will add up and it compounds. And in the future, you're going to see that either you regret the decisions that you made in the past or you truly appreciate that you made those decisions. And I think that buying Bitcoin and stacking as much as you can, whether that's $1 a month, $5 a month, $10 a month, whatever you can, if you can buy that amount of Bitcoin at some point, you're going to see that you made one of the best financial decisions of your life. Even though today it may seem like it's not enough, or it may seem like it's not relevant, or it's not perfect. Stop comparing the amount of wealth that you have to other people because that's the best way to make sure that you're not happy in the future. Because no matter what you do, no matter what you accomplish, there will always be somebody who's better than you, who did more than you, and who got further than you, who you can look at and you can be disappointed with yourself because of. Your goal here is to stack brick by brick. Don't think that if you can't get to one Bitcoin, you've failed and that you shouldn't even try. If you get to one Bitcoin, that's perfectly fine. If you get to zero point 0.1 Bitcoin, that's perfectly fine. But if you don't, at least you tried to stack as much as you can. Whatever Bitcoin you have will be worth significantly more in the future than it is today. This applies to your wealth building journey, whether you're buying index funds, whether you're buying stocks, whether you're buying real estate, whether you're buying Bitcoin. I think that Bitcoin is the best horse in the race, but I don't even think that you have to go all in order to benefit from Bitcoin because at some point, whatever Bitcoin you have will be a significant portion of your portfolio. I get a lot of comments from people saying that they have 20%, 25%, 30% of their portfolio in Bitcoin and they can't get themselves to going all in. And that's perfectly fine. You don't need to go all in. Whatever you have will probably outperform everything else that you have, but it'll give you peace of mind to hold those other assets. And that's perfectly fine, in my opinion. If you go all in on Bitcoin and you can't handle the volatility, again, you're trying to pursue that illusion of perfection, but it'll end up with you getting screwed over because if it's too volatile and if it falls, you may sell and you'll end up with less money compared to just buying 20% of your portfolio in Bitcoin and then having other assets to diversify with. So stop trying to pursue perfection. You can't. Nothing is perfect. Buy whatever Bitcoin you can. If you can't buy a lot this month, that's perfectly fine. Buy more next month. If you need to sell a little bit of your Bitcoin this month to pay for your expenses, again, that's perfectly fine. You need to get through the short term in order to achieve whatever you want in the long term. If not selling your Bitcoin ends up with you having to go homeless or not being able to feed your family, then you've lost in life no matter how much Bitcoin you have. So stop trying to pursue that illusion of perfection. There is no perfection. Do what you can and try to be consistent. Over time, you're going to see that the results that you get are much better than somebody who's trying to pursue perfection and just gives up on the way there.